So when we have an online portfolio, we want our work to be as accurate as possible, but unfortunately, when we use a camera to photograph our work, it doesn't look true to life as we want it to be, and that's where Photoshop comes in. So I'm going to show you the absolute basics of Photoshop as far as editing a photo of your work. And there are definitely a lot of things to learn for Photoshop, but these are just the basics you need to know right off the bat. So first what I did is I uploaded an image of my work. This is an illustration, and what I do first is I immediately crop it. So over here on the left there's a button that looks like a square with a line through it. I put that on the top left corner of my work and drag it to the bottom left corner. Make sure you can get as much of the work in as possible. You can move the outsides if you want to. Alright, and then I double click, and then there we go, here's the cropped image. Alright, next I go over to the right. This is my layer section. First what you do is, what I do is I double click to unlock the layer. So you can see this lock right here is it shows that it's locked, but I want to unlock it to make sure it's editable. And then after that I right click and then I click duplicate layer. Just in case you mess up, you always want to have a backup right below it. Alright, so then here's where you use the most important tool right here. Up at the top you'll see image. I'm going to click on that, go to adjustments, and then levels. And when you take an image with your camera, the thing that gets lost the most is your contrast levels. And you can see how my image is very gray, and it does not look like that in real life, but that's how it came across with the camera. So what I want to do is first change the overall values of the piece. So I click and drag my middle triangle thing right here, and I kind of drag it around and see what looks best. And maybe around there would be good, kind of like it's a median space. Alright, and then you can change your lights, your high values, so you click and drag to the left. You don't want it to be too bright, and this takes a lot of kind of trial and error. And then click and drag all the way to the left, that's your low values, your shadows. And then drag to the right, and that increases the contrast of your dark values. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to just make sure all my values are where I want them to be. Alright, so that looks about good. So then I can click OK. First, before you do that, you can click off preview and kind of see your changes, so you can immediately notice how it just pops right out at you, and that's more of how it looks like in real life. So I click OK. Alright, so then I have two layers. I have my good layer and then my original layer. Okay. Alright, then what you want to do is, optional, you can go to image adjustments again and go to your color balance, and that's if say the lighting was too warm or too cool in the room that you were taking your picture in. So say if I think this is kind of too cool, what I can do is very slightly make my colors warmer. So when I click this preview button, I don't know if you can see, but it's very, very subtly more or warmer than it was before. But that is optional, and there are other ways to do it, but this is one of the easiest ways to do it. Right, click OK. Alright, now the final thing we want to do for editing is there it is, okay. So, so we have our spot healing brush tool, or a healing tool. I like the spot healing brush tool because it's very simple to use. You want to change your brush size. I use the brackets because it's very quick. That's to the right of your P button. Okay, so the right bracket makes their brush size bigger, and then the left makes it smaller. Okay, and then I click Alt or I hold down the Alt button and I rotate in. You can also go and zoom in through this tool right over here, so I can zoom in if I want to. Oops. Up here you can zoom in. Right, and then what I like to do is I like to see if there are any spots of dust that got on my paper when I was taking the picture. So I found a spot right here. Okay, so it's barely noticeable, but it does make a difference. So I take my spot healing brush tool, I push my left bracket, I swipe it over the dot, and boom, it's gone. And usually what I do is I go around and clean up all of the little spots. This is also optional because spots do add to character sometimes, but when I'm uploading my own work, I don't like to have the dust spots on there. Okay, so your last step for editing this photo is we want to save this image and prepare it for the web. So what you want to do is hold down the Shift key, go over to your layers, and click your background so that both layers are selected. Right click, and then you want to either flatten image or merge layers. Okay. This makes it so that it's just one layer, otherwise the computer gets or the program kind of doesn't like having multiple layers. Alright, then go to File and Save for Web and Devices. Oh, I forgot. So a lot of the time your images are very, very big because that's how your camera takes the picture. So you want to go to Image and then Image Size, and usually you want your image to be about 25% of its original size. So you want to highlight this, down here Document Size, go to Percent, and you want it to be 25% and 25%. Make sure your resolution is 300, that's very important. Okay, so yes, it looks small, but you can always zoom in, and there it is. Alright, now go to File, Save for Web and Devices. Alright, make sure it's a JPEG. Your quality is maximum. Okay, and click Save. Then I want to go to Pictures, and then you want to make a new folder that says that is for your portfolio. So you can see how I have a bunch of portfolio folders already, but I'm going to do my first initial and last name, so R, Figler, and then portfolio. Okay, and then I'm going to name it something I can remember. So let's do birds. And a lot of the time I put the date, but we'll keep it to that right now. So it's birds, and then save. Right, and then when I go in to find it, it should be there. Okay, so those are the basics of editing photos, and there are different advanced tools that we can use, especially if you have a white background for your artwork. But that's for another video, so check out the next video. Otherwise, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.